Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. Wanted to provide a little Facebook Live or a little weather update for you on social media, on YouTube, because we've got storms rolling in tomorrow. I'm not going to be doing an update after the 10 o'clock news. There's not really probably going to be much that changes. And the Razorback game's happening here very shortly. Didn't expect a big viewing audience because a lot of people out and about probably getting ready to go to that game. Was at a baseball game today. But we do have storm activity, and so you'll be able to watch the replay of this, and you'll be able to know what's going on. So I want to get you in the know. Storms are definitely coming together, especially during the morning hours between about 7 a.m. to about 11 a.m. We're going to detail all this. I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let's get to the severe weather threat. This is a dramatic change from what we saw yesterday with the severe weather risk, which wasn't much that was in there. But you can see that we've got most likely threat damaging winds 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. 1 p.m. is kind of towards the tail end of this. But yeah, glad you don't live up north. They're getting quite a winter storm. This is all the same system, though. We're getting the severe weather side of it. This big system is going to be ripping through the northern plains with winter weather. And my weather kid, Evan, says, Dan, look at the HRRR. It's pretty interesting how everything is coming together near Joplin, where I live. Surface dew points in the 60s, Cape levels up to 1,000. You got it, sir. We're looking at it for sure. Let's show you the severe weather risk for tornadoes. So a tornado is going to be possible within the line of storms. I don't think it's the greatest threat. I think damaging winds are going to be more likely. I think really, honestly, the biggest concern is going to be the extremely heavy rain. These storms and the line of storms that come through, what we call a QLCS, is going to produce some really heavy rain. And it's going to be when you're driving around heavily trafficked in the morning, and there's a lot of people that are commuting to school or to work, driving their kids to school. All that stuff is going to be, let's just say, coming through. So remain weather aware, as Andrew says. That's the best idea. Stay weather aware. You'll need to. Here's a look at the satellite and radar. And again, the storm system's kind of churning just off to our west. We got a warm front that has been very stubborn and has not lifted north. That warm front not going to be making it through the river valley tonight, but tomorrow morning, that's going to be a possibility as that warm front lifts northward. Now, just to reiterate, the surface map is kind of a little complicated, but this is what's happening. By the way, the big storm system's off to the west. So this moisture and humidity is poised to move northward, and it will. In fact, it already is. Dew points are in the upper 40s. We got river valley dew points that are even a little higher, and temperatures should be climbing overnight tonight, although we still have that northeasterly wind. So here's a look at the surface map as the front remains just south of the river valley. Watch what happens overnight tonight. That warm front's going to be lifting northward. As it does, and moisture and humidity starts surging in, and then that's going to lead to some thunderstorm potential. Now you can see the severe weather potential cranking up in eastern Oklahoma, and this is going to be before sunrise for eastern Oklahoma. So the risk for storms, while it's 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. for us, it's earlier out west. Now you'll see that severe weather potential ripping through along the line. And then you've got the cold front that turns into a dry line. Now, a dry line is a boundary between very warm, humid air out ahead of it and then drier air to the west of it. And there's a collision along the dry line, which provides lift, which can form thunderstorms. Now, the shear is not as great as the system that we saw last week, the system that Wednesday night into Thursday morning. But at the same time, we didn't have as much instability that we're potentially going to see with this system. There still is some uncertainty about that. But then the front moves through, and after that comes through, you're going to see the low pressure system shift to the east. It's going to be very windy, also totally clearing out by Wednesday afternoon. Watch what happens with the front coming in Wednesday night into Thursday morning. It's going to be breezy and cooler behind that front, and then that system starts to move out. So here's a zoomed-in view. As you just said, NFL Productions 101, which we know is Evan, by the way, in Southwest Missouri. Such a great weather kid, by the way. He was a weather kid a few months ago, and man, he knows this stuff. And I love it. I love that you're still looking at it and you're still watching what's going on. So here's a look at the Wednesday morning time frame. A lot of thunderstorms. Yes, there will be some hail potential. We're talking quarter-size hail. Yes, there will be lightning. Yep. Hey, Richard. I see that you spelled it correctly. You changed it and then you spelled it correctly. So you learned the spelling of lightning, which is awesome. So there it is, 8 o'clock in the morning commute time, kids starting school. There's going to be some thunderstorms rolling through. Now, as far as the tornado potential, it's a line of storms. But anywhere along this line, we can get what are called mesovortices if the ingredients do line up, which it appears that they might. So those are things that we're going to have to watch for. Any chance that the cold blasts further out? Probably not, Alex, because it's going to be a dry line, and the dry line is going to be shifted off to the west, and then it comes through. Now, if you saw that dry line coming through, it's very rare for a weather system to bring the dry line east into northwest Arkansas and then all the way east into eastern Arkansas. That doesn't happen very often, but that is going to happen with this system. Another thing, too, is the reason I've got 1 p.m., even though a lot of the models show this system moving out by noon, is we're going to get what's called stratiform precipitation. Now, what does this mean? This means that as you're outside, hopefully not, but as you're outside, it'll be raining. Maybe not raining as heavy as it did when the initial line came through, but the problem is that there's going to be some what we call positive CG lightning bolts. These are the ones where you have on the back edge of the line, you get what's called stratiform rain, and these can produce those huge positive CGs out of nowhere. And these bolts can travel a long distance. So be aware that lightning will still be possible throughout the late morning into the early afternoon. Now, here's the model for the 18Z HRRR, which is going to be updated here shortly. There's the line moving out. Now, watch the winds. Winds are going to crank up during the afternoon out of the southwest, gusting over 40 miles an hour. And then that storm system starts racing east. And then Thursday is going to be definitely noticeably cooler. Now, when we look at the individual threats for tornadoes, large hail, and damaging winds, a tornado or two is possible. Large hail up to 1.25. I think that's going to be the largest hail size. That's going to be mainly probably in the eastern Oklahoma and the storms initially form. Damaging winds, no doubt, is going to be the main threat just because that's the most likely with these storms. But a tornado is possible. And as you mentioned, QLCS tornado, meaning a small spin up tornado along the line of thunderstorms. Exactly. That's what I tweeted out earlier. There's the timing of the storms. It's a small window, but it's going to come down. And the rain and the storms are going to come in right around morning commute time. So just be aware of that as this system rips in. Now, if we'll show you tonight, storm chances getting breezy. Really, the storms don't happen until sunrise, which is at 6:56, and possibly get ready for a red sky in the morning, which sailors heed the warning. We had a beautiful red sky tonight, and that's a sailor's delight. Tomorrow, this is your forecast, 67 to 75. A little unusual on the temperatures. I'm still not sold that it gets into the mid 70s. The models were kind of showing that the day of Valentine's Day, and we didn't get that warm behind the system. But it will be windy and it will be sunny during the second half of the day after the storms move out. So don't be fooled. It doesn't rain all day. It doesn't storm all day. It's mainly during the morning hours. So we look at the 7-day forecast. There's a whole lot of stuff going on. In fact, I talked about it at I think it was 6 o'clock. No, 5:30. So I was a little hangry because I haven't eaten and I'm kind of irritated because the weather's been so darn active. But I call it stormgry because I'm like hangry and I'm irritated from all the storm activity because, man, this has been so active. Like every single week, we've had multiple systems coming through. They've been multiple major systems. And there you get to see that severe weather potential. Now, the cold front comes in Wednesday night. Temperatures will be dropping for Thursday. And then the active pattern continues. Now, over the weekend, we'll highlight those rain chances as we get closer. But Friday night looks to be some light rain. That's going to be important for if you're going to the NWA Heart Ball, which I'll be emceeing with Chelsea. That I won't be working on Friday. Saturday, we get some on and off showers, especially during the second half of our Saturday. Mainly Saturday's rain chances probably less than Sunday because the system coming in. And then Monday, thunderstorms, mainly in the morning. That's because there's a severe weather risk out west for Monday. And I will show you that here. as we check out the severe weather risk. So a lot of people commenting about this. This is in Oklahoma. This is the day 6 convective outlook. This is for, by the way, Sunday night into Monday morning. And you can see that severe weather potential off to the west. Now, this is still early and this could easily change. But yes, it's a major system. That system will be coming in. Here's another look at a different model. All the models are showing rain, by the way. And we're talking about a 3/4 of an inch to an inch of rain. And when we look at the surface-based cape, the surface-based cape isn't impressive. So the tornado potential is definitely on the lower end, but it's not zero. You look at the mixed layer cape, and it's there, but it's not super tremendous. So if anything, I'd say the instability might be a little less than what's expected. If we look at the latest 0Z HRRR, we'll take a look here at some mixed layer cape, and you can see it definitely showing up with some instability. It's got about 400 to 500. If we look at the sounding isn't anything to write home about by any means. Pretty terrible profile. We're capped. We've got upper level. We got a mid level inversion, and the wind shear isn't super spectacular. But I think the big story is going to be the heavy rain. The rain's really going to come down, and it comes down fast. So just be aware of that. Also, too, there will be a little bit of what we call rotation tracks, and you can kind of see this coming through right around. Here's 9 o'clock in the morning. Here's 10 o'clock in the morning, 16Z. So 9, 10, you get a little bit of these rotation tracks that come through. Let's update this and make sure that's the latest one. So there's your rotation track showing up going through northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. So that's along the leading edge of the line. So the individual cells will be moving northeast while the main line moves eastward. So yeah, no doubt there's going to be some embedded potential mesovortices, circulations within the line. That's something we'll have to continue to modify and watch. Oops. There we go. Remove that. So there's a 7-day forecast, active weather, and then you can see the River Valley active weather pattern continuing, lower 50s, lower 60s, rain and storms, severe weather potential on Monday, Sunday into Monday. I'm not even touching that with a 10-foot pole at the moment because that's so far out. We just got to get through this system first. Around what time is the potential for severe weather over? Have to drive to northeast Oklahoma tomorrow morning. So if you're going to drive around 10 o'clock in the morning, everything will be over in eastern Oklahoma and still, well, maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, McGalley. So here's a look at that timing again. Now, this is just for us in northwest Arkansas. I'll show you a wider view just in case you're wondering. By the way, that comment was just a few minutes ago. So hopefully you're still on here. You can see the rain and storm chances definitely most likely during the late morning into the very early afternoon. Here's another look at that timing. And what I'll do is I'll show you a wider view. Okay, we'll zoom out here a little bit, and I'll show you what happens in Oklahoma because we're kind of more hyper focused, and I know people have to drive, and driving is going to be a little bit sketchy tomorrow, especially during the late morning. So let me show you this here real quick. Stand by. Okay, a little bit of a wider view. And let me delete that and zoom out a little bit. And so here you go. This is your timing along with the storm potential. Keep in mind the models aren't perfect, so they may not be handling this exactly the way it's going to develop, but you get the idea that thunderstorms are popping up after 1 o'clock in the morning. There they come racing east. And then you can see them moving eastward. And then there's the thunderstorm activity 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see. So, yeah, if you're leaving at 7, you'll encounter some really heavy rain, potential for hydroplaning. There's a 8 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to be leaving. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. By 11 o'clock, everything will start moving east. So you might encounter some rain initially, and then the storm system will be out of here. But, you can drive in the rain. You just got to be careful. I don't know where they'll be driving from. At 7:30, the husband will be driving to Siloam. Not sure where they're driving from. Good question, Matthew. What is the QPF? Well, remember, models can sometimes underdo on the QPF, but here's the very latest different forecasts from different computer models. So we'll look at this. Here's the graph showing over an inch, with Rogers getting over an inch and a half, which that seems plausible for sure. European has about an inch, GFS has about an inch, and the NAM has about an inch. So Storm Greek causing weather results soon. Yeah, no kidding. You like that? Uh Storm Greek. And the NAM, of course, is the least. NAM has been pretty terrible. But anyways, so 7:30, the husband will be driving to Siloam. They'll definitely encounter some storms during the second half of their commute. Now they might not come in until later, but there's going to be that time window. So just be careful, watch out, and we'll keep you updated. All right. And just to let you know, very active weather pattern for next week. Lots of jet stream energy, persistent southwest flow. This weather pattern just doesn't quit, and neither do we when it doesn't quit. So here's a look at the jet stream energy. This, by the way, is the big dip in the jet stream that will finally translate eastward. And there you see that persistent southwest flow means rain and a lot of it. And that means the potential for some heavy rain. Now, here's that system ripping in. You can see it right there Sunday night and into Monday morning. Then that system moves out. But guess what? It's still a southwest flow. Stop with this pattern. This is crazy. You can see it just continuing. More active weather, more storms, and more storms. I swear I'm going to take 7 years off my life this year with this active weather. If so far, this severe weather season, we've seen storms that have lacked the instability but have had tremendous shear. And then we've seen storms that have lacked the shear but had tremendous instability. We haven't really had both of them on top of each other, co-located for an event yet. Well, now we did November 4th. There's no doubt about that. November 4th, the shear came in, the instability came in, we had a tornado outbreak. January 2nd, the instability was kind of lacking, but the shear was pretty impressive. If we get into the spring and we have the instability, which is going to be a possibility because the Gulf of Mexico is primed for that moisture return, and we get the dew points to start surging in from the south, and then we got the instability with the shear, we're going to get rocked this spring. And who knows, man? I might be writing my obituary. Here's a look at how much the dew points start to return. So this is a look at the moisture return. So it shows dew points in the mid 50s. Typically, this is overdone. But there you go. Dew points surging north. See the dry line too? You can see dew points in the lower 60s. So lower 60s, that's pretty impressive. Brett says, is it that normal to have southwest flow this time of the year? At times, Brent, but not all the darn time. It's absolutely crazy how active this weather pattern is. We got this blocking high to the east, and we've got all this active weather that just continues. You can see the ridge. So you got this persistent southwesterly flow. Now that's one model. By the way, March 3rd looks like, remember all the talk about the cold blast and all that stuff, and all the sudden stratospheric warming. And yes, there might have been sudden stratospheric warming, a sudden SSW event, but it doesn't look like that cold air will be impacting us anytime soon, and it doesn't look to impact us all the way into the 1st of March. That is a warm weather pattern that's also spells severe weather potential. So we've got a lot of storms coming through. We're probably going to see flooding. We're probably going to see lake level rises, river level rises, and I really hope we don't get substantial flooding on the rivers again. But this is just too active of a weather pattern for it not to cause issues. But like I was saying, I really can't stand all these long range forecasts and all the hype and all the buildup of a cold blast. And you see it on multiple different avenues. A lot of times it doesn't pan out. And then we kind of forget as people that it even was a thing that was forecasted. Sometimes I could be guilty of that too, because I kind of get looped into all the other hype that's out there. But let's just take it week by week. That's good enough for you guys. Week by week, it's tough enough to get it week by week. When you get 2 weeks out, you can have an idea, but you can't really. The Weather Prediction Center and those long range climate outlooks, they change every single day. They change all the time. And in fact, sometimes it'll show below normal temperatures. And then before you know it, you look at it again and it's above normal temperatures. So I just feel like I wish a lot of people wouldn't get so worked up on long range climate outlooks because they're just not ideal. That might be the hangry in me coming out. I need to eat. I'm going to watch some hogs. By the way, here's a look at that. I'll just show you real quick the 6 to 10 day outlook. So 6 to 10 day outlook. Yeah, I'd say that's warmer than normal. And the 8 to 14 day outlook. Yeah, I'd say that's warmer than normal. So you can see that. You don't even need to put the states on there. Colder than normal on the West Coast. So, of course, that means troughing on the West Coast, which means more storms. So, okay, guys, I'm going to go eat. So I'm in a much happier mood tonight. Hangry and stormgry. But you know what? What's cool is some kids, first grade class. I got to talk to them today. It was West Side Elementary in Rogers. They're going to be doing a little weather experiment tomorrow as they're seeing flashes of lightning, and they count the number of seconds in between lightning and thunder to figure out how far away those lightning bolts are. So before I leave you, for those that are still on here, how many seconds in between lightning and thunder equals 1 mile? How many seconds in between lightning and thunder equals 1 mile? What do you guys think? All you got to do is type away at the comments. That's right, Colin. I've done that. Ooh, I'm seeing a lot of answers here. So when you see a flash of lightning tomorrow and you start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You hear the crack of thunder at 5 seconds? That was, in fact, 1 mile. So the answer is every 5. James M., shout out to you. Cindy Moore, don't second guess yourself. You're right. Stacy says 5. You are correct. Jacob, hey, my weather guru. Nikki Jensen, you are correct as well. Sabrina, Chad Ross, Brandy's like, I forgot. It's okay. To be honest with you, 90% of adults and teachers don't know the answer. There you go. How about this? You get the distance in miles. 5 seconds equals 1 mile. 15 seconds, 3 miles. 0 seconds, very close. You know what we call 0-second lightning flashes? We call them flangs because the flash and the bang happens at the exact same time. So it's like flash, boom, and then you soil your pants. On that note, go Hogs. Have a good one. We'll see you later. And if something drastically changes with the forecast tonight, I'll do another Facebook Live, but probably not. We'll be watching tomorrow the storms, and I'll have my setup at home if need be to pop on. And Josh Rugger will be in the weather lab. He's got you covered. If the tornado threat starts cranking up and increasing, I'll hop on there with him, and we'll cover these storms together in the weather lab. On that note, have a good one. Enjoy your dinner. Go Hogs, and we'll see you tonight.